look, many would say NASA needs to be going for the moonshots, to use a better pun, but they should be going for extraordinary exploration. They perhaps shouldn't be funding, well, testing of, well, certain private companies' engines. They shouldn't be actually beefing up in terms of managers. They'd be stripping layers. But is this going to the moonshots too?
Well, I think that's kind of the question of the moment right now. There's this fundamental tension of what NASA is supposed to be. You know, for years, for decades, the agency has really been at the forefront of, technology innovation, developing the hardware that we launch and then send to space, even deep space. And now, as the private sector has taken on more of those capabilities, NASA has started to transition more into something of an incubator for the commercial space industry. But one thing that it always kind of stood at the vanguard of was science. And so with these drastic cuts being proposed to the science budget, it really begs the question of what is NASA's role then? Is it supposed to be opening up the commercial sector to more opportunity, or does it still need to go for those moonshots, even if people aren't involved, as you mentioned?
The case study is the Perseverance rover on Mars. We put it there, and for 4 years it's collected data and samples. Under these proposed cuts, we may not now have a mission to get that sample back.
Right. So what the president's budget proposes is that eventually we would go get those samples because we're going to invest in new human missions to Mars. But, that takes quite some time. Anytime you put a human on a vehicle, the development becomes much more intense, stretches longer, also risks delays. And before we had discussed, putting people on Mars, the idea was that we would actually send robotic spacecraft to go pick up those samples and bring them back to Earth. Now, that was also turning into a very intense and complicated process. Launching off of Mars is just going to be one of the most complicated and technological feats of our generation, of humanity's entire existence. But of course, when you put people involved, is going to make that even more complex.